Live from the Big Patriot Radio Network studios, it's time for House of Cards.
Introducing to you.
You're on House of Cards. Live on Facebook and YouTube.
It's going down.
Locked and loaded with the truth.
And good evening, everybody. Once again, it is time for House of Cards. Glad to have you here. I'm Mike Covert, host of the show, and welcome to the show tonight. All of the formats that are out there, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Again, tonight's show is powered by United Digital Promotions, and they also power BigPatriotRadio.com. Don't forget, if you haven't gone to that radio station yet, I don't know what the world's wrong with you, but head on over there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, BigPatriotRadio.com. We've got news, blues, country pop, classic rock, all day, all night, and podcasts every night of the week, such as, Monday is the New America Movement at 7 o'clock Eastern and 9 o'clock Encore Eastern Time. On Tuesday, the Overton Report with Corey Allen at 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock. The re-show there at 8 o'clock. On Thursday is, it's playing right now, is the previous week's House of Cards on Big Patriot Radio. Let's see, Sundays, we have Culture Crossroads with Andrew Southwick at 7, and the Freedom Hour, Frank Friedenauer, is on at 8 o'clock. Number one song this week on Big Patriot Radio, third straight week in a row. Try that in a Small Town by Jason Aldean. And the number one listening town for last week is Anderson, South Carolina. Didn't know we had that a big crowd up there, but I'm glad to hear it. And again, we've got a great show lined up for you tonight. Before we get to that, here is your 5-minute news.
This is VOA News. I'm Diane Roberts. A senior ECOWAS official told West African Army generals that the bloc is ready to intervene militarily in Niger if a coup there is not reversed. Edward Baran reports from Reuters.
Well, it sounds like Reuters may have lost the connection.
Abdel Fattah al-Musa
There
said
we
the
go.
valiant forces of West Africa are ready to answer the call of duty. That was as he addressed army generals from member states who were meeting in Ghana. Military officers in Niger deposed President Mohamed Bazoum on July 26th. They've defied calls from the United Nations, ECOWAS and Western powers to reinstate him. That prompted West African heads of state to order a standby force to be assembled. Musa listed past ECOWAS deployments in Gambia, Liberia and elsewhere as examples of readiness. He also accused the junta of playing cat and mouse with the bloc. The junta has said it's open to talks to resolve the crisis.
That was Reuters correspondent Edward Baran. The Ukrainian military on Thursday claimed more success in its counteroffensive against Russian forces on the southeastern front, a day after announcing the liberation of a village that had served as a Russian stronghold. But Russia took offensive action of its own Thursday in the Kharkiv region. Correspondent Lisa Bakalets in Warsaw with details for VOA's Flashpoint Ukraine program.
As the governor of the Kharkiv region told in his telegram, Alexei Negubov, shelling began in the morning around 7 o'clock local time. The Russian army shelled several villages. One woman was killed, another was wounded by shrapnel.
This is VOA News. U.S. President Joe Biden vowed on Thursday that the U.S. federal government will remain committed to the people of Maui as they recover, rebuild, and grieve in the wake of wildfires that destroyed the town of Lahaina and killed at least 110 people. VOA's Jeff Custer has more.
In a brief video aired on the U.S. ABC television network news program Good Morning America, Biden said the U.S. government has already taken immediate action, sending hundreds of emergency personnel, thousands of meals and supplies to the devastated tourist resort town where some 2,200 buildings were destroyed. During his remarks, Biden highlighted the efforts of first responders, many of whom have been personally affected by the wildfires. Biden and First Lady Jill Biden will travel to Hawaii Monday to survey the devastation and meet with first responders, survivors, and federal, state, and local officials. Jeff Custer, VOA News, Washington.
The northern Canadian city of Yellowknife faces an evacuation order due to wildfires. Most of the 20,000 residents are leaving by car or plane. Air Canada said it's capping fares and adding flights on Thursday from Yellowknife as social media users complain of soaring prices by multiple carriers. Air Canada denied price gouging. Canadian fire crews continued battling the wildfires Thursday to keep them from reaching Yellowknife. The fire was within 16 kilometers of the northern edge of the city. Yellowknife's mayor said people should evacuate by noon Friday. Dozens of people are dead or missing following an attempt to migrate from Senegal to Spain by sea. AP correspondent Charles de Ledesma has more.
A boat believed to have departed Senegal with more than 100 migrants in early July has been rescued with just a few dozen survivors and several dead on board near the Atlantic island nation of Capo Verde. Senegal's Foreign Affairs Ministry says the boat was rescued on Tuesday by a local Coast Guard. Authorities have not yet confirmed how many migrants died. The Spanish migrancy advocacy group Walking Borders says the vessel was a large fishing boat that had left Senegal on July 10. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
The United States on Wednesday imposed sanctions on 3 entities it accused of being tied to arms deals between North Korea and Russia as Washington cracks down on those seeking to support Russia's war in Ukraine. The U.S. Treasury Department, in a statement, said that Russia has increasingly been forced to turn to North Korea and other allies to sustain its war in Ukraine as it expends munitions and loses heavy equipment on the battlefield. For pictures, videos, stories, and more, follow the Voice of America on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. From Washington, I'm Diane Roberts, VOA News.
Locked and loaded.
Let's go.
Big Patriot Radio. Blues, news, country pop, and classic rock.
You know, the most amazing news of last week, or so, and we're going to get to our guest before I go there. She is in the green room. We have her backstage. She is partaking of some adult beverages back there. I don't know what the treat is for this week. Last week was brownies. I'm not sure what is there now, but we'll get to her in just a minute. It's going to be awesome. But, you know, the most amazing news of last week or so has been the release of a song, an introduction into the world like a newborn baby. But the world got to meet for the first time Oliver Anthony. Oliver Anthony of Farmville, Virginia, a little ways away from my old stomping grounds. It's quite the story, actually, when you dig into it. Oliver is a 30-year-old former factory worker. I don't want to call him a recovering alcoholic, but he had, self-admitted, had some issues with alcohol. We believe he is single, but not 100% positive. He released a song entitled Rich Men from North of Richmond. Kind of a play on words there, but it has a lot of meaning to it. Rich Men from North of Richmond. And it has become, well, I guess, you know what? Let's just show you the video and take a look at Oliver Anthony. Let's take a look at Oliver Anthony and this song. And I may stop it as we go along because I want you to pay attention to the words, not so much the voice, even though he's got a good voice, and the guitar. I love the what do they call those with that middle thing there in the middle? I forget the name of it, but anyway, it's really cool. But listen to the words and watch the expression on his face as he goes along. Oliver Anthony.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end. Cause the rich men, cause the rich men. I wish politicians look out for minors, and not just minors on an island somewhere.
Ooh.
Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground, 'cause all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. Lord, it's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do, 'cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end, 'cause the rich men, North the rich men. I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay.
Oliver Anthony, ladies and gentlemen. Oliver Anthony, right there. That is going to be, saying it's going to be a huge hit is not even remotely being just. And when you think about it, I mean, the words, you can tear that song apart, and man, this song has got the country by storm. I relate this to back when 9/11 happened. Shortly after 9/11, songs came out, and the vast majority of people in the country really pulled together, and there was camaraderie and teamwork and brotherhood, sisterhood, all that kind of stuff. And since then, it's degraded and to the point where we are now. And this has a tendency, I believe, to kind of bring that out. This song has gone viral. Oliver, just the other day, was fine. Matter of fact, we debuted this on Saturday or Sunday. Once I got the paper, online, all the paperwork and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I guarantee you it'll be number one next week. But it forced Oliver to get a Twitter account. He didn't even have a Twitter account. And his Twitter account is at Ain't Got a Dollar. Ain't Got a Dollar, which hit 350,000 followers almost instantly, literally almost instantly. Oliver appears to be so humble, likable. The national mainstream media is having a proverbial, what I consider the proverbial shit fit over him. They're losing their minds, but be assured, all of the liberal journalist circles are searching through every single thing they can get their hands on right now, to find some kind of dirt on Oliver Anthony that they can put out there. They don't want this to take hold. As a matter of fact, this dirt that they're looking for is already happening, and I hope that Oliver has someone in his corner that can counsel him and mentor him. He is obviously, this is not his shtick. He's the right guy at the right place at the right time with the right song. Hopefully there are people that are with him that can explain, this is what you're going to see. This is what you do, etc. AmericanConservative.com posted an article recently claiming that Rolling Stone magazine featured a story on Oliver. This has to be just a few days ago, centering around his list of influencers being right-wing conspiracy theorists of the like, such as Dan Bongiorno, Matt Walsh. Personally, I'd tell Rolling Stone to screw off. If it was me, Matt Walsh and Bongiorno, in my opinion, are stellar people. I know there are people who think they are scum of the earth. I think they're stellar people. Creative journalists. They're real American patriots. They're not phony, basement-dwelling, activist-sucking neophytes. The AmericanConservative.com also mentions, what's that piece of crap magazine? The shitbag. Oh, National Review. National Review executive and obviously tone-deaf editor Mark Antonio, I guess it's Antonio, Wright, tells his readers, first and foremost, and I quote this to you, He says, I just don't understand the adulation for this song's message, referring to Oliver Anthony. If you really want to hear from one of the most repeated morons in journalism, commentator and my lapel for him is half-assed journalist Paul Waldman. He has columns regularly on MSNBC.com, Washington Post, Chicago Times, LA Times, who, by the way, called Jason Aldean's Try That in a Small Town an ode to vigilantism and urban resentment. He wrote a story on MSNBC.com about this incredible life story, the Oliver Anthony story, claiming he doesn't know what he is talking about, and his hate and anger should be placed on, quote, Republican politicians and big tech. That's where Paul Waldman thinks that Oliver should send his message of disgust to Republican politicians and big tech. Paul, if somebody can get this to you, let me talk to you for a second, Mr. Shit for Brains. I think the gist of the song is that rich men north of Richmond is any and all politicians who aren't working for the American people. The story we're going to talk about with our guest tonight is indicative of that. I couldn't have written this any better. What we're going to talk about tonight is the system is not working for the American people, and we're sick and tired of it. Oliver Anthony is just saying, hey, I'm a blue-collar worker, and I bust my knuckles all the day for bullshit pay. The man is kicking me down. These politicians that are these rich men north of Richmond, in my opinion, meaning the politicians in D.C., it's 100 miles north of Richmond. If they would worry more about also not worry more, but worry about the miners, not just the miners on an island somewhere. To me, that's an ode to the Epstein and all the politicians who are pedophiles, in my opinion. Anyway, so back to the shit for brains Waldman. He's saying, Paul, that any and all politicians who aren't working for the American people, regardless of party. All right, this is not a Democrat, Republican, independent, socialist, whatever thing. If you're not working for the American public, and what we're going to talk about tonight with our guest, it is across the board, however you vote. But here we go again. Another half-cocked, ignorant buffoon laying claims out there. Well, as for lack of better words, they're just ignorant. That's all that is. Oliver Anthony calls out the welfare system, as I said, which is true. It's absolutely true. How could anybody say the welfare system in this country is working? It's not working. Let's go back to Obama, and everybody got a Obama phone. Anthony calls out anyone and everyone who is killing the working man. Does that involve labor unions? Yes. Does that involve the workforce? Yes. Not one time does his call out go just to Democrats or liberals or progressives. He didn't do that. Put your collar down, Paul. His song applies where the shoe fits. That could be a part of a song. If the shoe fits, I could do that. Anyway, probably not. In the song, he says, I wish politicians would care about minors and not just minors on an island somewhere. Context, minors on an island, again, referring to, in my opinion, the political and elite network of pedophiles, such as the Epstein Island Adventure Program. Minors with an ERS in reference to the coal miners, especially of Appalachia, that are the epitome of down-to-earth Americans that our political system seems to just give the middle finger to for years. Coal mining, while my family is not in coal mining affected my family. We're from the West Virginia area. Anyway, to bring that story back around, it's always been the finger up or the thumb down to the coal miner. Every time you turn on your lights in some places, you should thank the coal miner. So far, there have been over 15 million views and over 5 million downloads of this song. It debuted, like I said, on Big Patriot Radio. Oh, it was last Sunday in my notes. And as the pre-chorus, so I don't know if you got this, but listen to the words of the pre-chorus. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me and people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is.
Introducing to you.
You're on House of Cards, live on Facebook and YouTube.
It's going down.
Locked and loaded with the truth.
You know, we've been talking about ever since this show started, we've been talking about election reform. We've talked about voting machines. We've talked about how disgustingly un-American this new South Carolina election integrity bill. It's not new now. It's a couple, 2 or 3 years old. You know, how disgustingly un-American it really is. We have posed the question as to why this local Hilton Head Island helper to the author is so hell-bent on the election integrity bill in some strange, perverse way. We had a video of her being interviewed by Nancy Ross. And I don't know if Laura Shar was there or not. But anyway, this gal, I don't want to give her even any cred, but it was almost in a perverse way, actually. We have had experts on to talk about it. Think about this, ladies and gentlemen. If you're one of the few that have not been here in the last several weeks, we had Mark Cook on from Colorado. This guy is, if I could learn half of what he forgot, I would be probably a step ahead in the IQ department. This guy's a whiz kid when it comes to computers and programming and IT and security and software and blah, 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 blah. Then we had Rob Harris, South Carolina House of Representatives member, Republican from Spartanburg County, came on and talked about bills here locally. So we went from the 30,000-foot view nationally to all of a sudden here statewide and in somewhat countywide, if you will, but really statewide. And we've had these experts on, people from the GOP, the Beaufort GOP, and the Beaufort Democrat Party, for that matter, have not had one. Not the first one, not the first expert. They've not had them on that could claim that the machines are safe. Boil it down to that. All right, I want you to forget about, because I try to stay out of the federal business because it's such a cesspool. We'll get into it, though, as this is election season. But let's stay out of that. When you hear machines, first thing people think of is, Trump and Kemp and blah, blah. Forget about that for a second. Let's talk about it here locally. Remember, we proved that there is a problem. We saw it. We've had experts on to corroborate those claims. The state executive committee woman from Beaufort County claims these machines are safe, but has offered zero proof. Just that she says she's smarter than everybody else and they're safe. Move along. Sit down. Shut up. Don't ask any questions. Push go. We have, on the other hand, offered, and again, we've provided plenty. Tonight, we are going to add to that. Again, we are putting experts out there for you to listen to. You make up your mind while they talk about it, the good game, the bullshit game. We're giving you proof. Tonight, we're pleased to have a young lady. Whoop, I just missed the screen. A young lady with us. She graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. That, ladies and gentlemen, means she's already way smarter than me. She got special clearance to work for, some secretive place called Lockheed Skunks Works. I'm blowing my mind. Her entire career, was in the aerospace industry doing modeling, simulations, and analysis. Number two, way smarter than me. She moved over to Boeing, from Lockheed to Boeing, where she eventually retired in the engineering department as an engineer a couple of years ago. 2020 elections come along. They came and went, and she got a little interested in elections, especially since our voting machines translate our selections into barcodes. Further proof. She's way smarter than me. I had no idea that they got turned into a barcode. Please help me welcome to the show, Heather Hickman, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, Mike.
Welcome,
Thank you so
Heather.
much for that. How are you doing
Absolutely.
today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks. Wow. I'm kind of like, who's he talking about again now? That's a lot.
It's you.
Really, yeah, I did all that and a lot more, but that's not what right now is about. Right now, I'm just a retired old lady that got curious what's going on with our elections. And like you said, barcodes. You go in, you're told to check your ballot before you insert it into this machine. You've already passed two machines, right? You checked in with something called an e-poll book. What the heck is that? And then you punch buttons on a ballot marking device machine. What's that doing? And now you've got this card and you're supposed to feed it into another machine, but you're supposed to check it first. And I looked at it, I was like, what am I checking for? It's translated everything into these I don't read barcodes. Do you read barcodes? Grocery store scanners read barcodes. I'm a person. I don't know what that says. And just so you know, I called the state elections commission and I said, so why? Well, that's just how it works. I said, okay, well, just could you get me the table that says if I select, let's just pretend I voted for Governor McMaster. If I select Governor McMaster, what barcode would I be looking at so that I can do what you told me, which is check my ballot? And they said, well, there's no table. And I said, well, there's one thing or another. There's either a table or there's an algorithm, right? We're talking about computers. Computers either simply look it up or they have an algorithm to calculate it, to produce it. Oh, no one's ever asked that before. And they just totally blew me off. Mike, they laughed at me. I'm just an old lady asking questions. You don't need a degree, by the way, in computer science to know that once upon a time, there was something called optical character recognition. You wanted to scan a document on a scanner, right? And it told you that these are the letters, and it gave you the text on whatever that piece of paper was, right? So it can convert text to text and tell you a letter A is a letter A, whether it's a sloppy cursive A or a neatly written A. A is A. But we've got this extra crazy step. So that was when I really started getting suspicious. I'm slow, y'all. I didn't even watch the election returns in 2020. But thousands of people have talked about what they saw in 2020. Yeah. When a machine tabulates a vote, what do you suppose it does with the next vote? Just to make it simple, I'm going to say it adds it. Okay? So you got one vote for Governor McMaster. It gets the next vote and it sees Governor McMaster. It should add one. Do you know on election night, we saw machines subtracting votes? Subtracting?
I believe it. Okay.
People don't subtract votes. Third graders don't subtract votes. Third graders know how to add the next one on. Okay. I'm just here to say third graders could do this. We wouldn't trust them. We wouldn't put that kind of responsibility on them, but they could do it. So all this comes down to, I have a petition and I would love if you could share it. I didn't create this, y'all. I found it somewhere. Somebody helped me get it to line up with South Carolina Constitution, South Carolina law.
Let me, tell me if this comes on the screen. Do you
I
see it now?
didn't see your screen earlier when Anthony, whatever his name was on. So
somebody else told me that. Hold on 1 second. I'm one of those.
I'm sorry, Mr. Anthony, for messing up your name. I just remember the red beard.
I'm one of those technically defunct people. How about that?
There we go. Thank you.
Okay. Take it away.
So isn't this crazy? I wanted a petition for paper ballots. Now, got this idea right before several people were going to Pickens. Y'all might have heard that this former President Trump was going to Pickens, South Carolina.
I heard something about that.
Something about that. So we heard that he was going, and I said, you know what? We should go, because people there will want this. What this is a petition for paper-only ballots, one day of voting. Now, your elections commission is going to tell you you have paper ballots. We just talked about that. You produce a piece of paper. I want you to know that piece of paper is not what's counted, even though you put that in the tabulator. It makes an image of your ballot, an image. If somebody was counting all those pieces of paper, you would know the real numbers. It's not. It's counting the images. Do you know what image it produced from your ballot? I'll give you a hint. No.
I have no idea, other than I know we're going to be shocked. So tell us.
Yeah. No, the answer is no. We don't know. And
we don't know. Well,
we don't know. We honestly, and we can't know. And that's the real, I started to say crime. Okay, I got to be careful. I've worked with people in election integrity from a lot of groups and a lot of backgrounds, like all over, like everywhere. Like this shirt came from a different group flying me down to Georgia to be a poll observer in a recent election. So I work with people everywhere. I'm not anybody. I just am a volunteer. And one of the groups that has shown interest in election integrity is a group named South Carolina Safe Elections. They wanted to do an audit of the election. They still want to try to do an audit of 2020. And I just mentioned images. So all they need is just show us the images that you added up, or by the way, that somebody added up. I'm going to add more complexity here. Those images aren't even counted by a person, not here in the United States. If you go to this, y'all know you should probably go to scvotes.gov. That's where you would know if you're registered. scvotes.gov. That's where you would find out that you're registered to vote. That's where you would get a copy of your sample ballot. There's elections coming up, y'all. There's elections coming up in November. And you need to be looking at, are you properly registered? Who are you going to vote for? What's your ballot going to look like? If you want to see election results, you're on this scvotes.gov. Okay, it's .gov, right? That's a government website. So. That's US. You want to see election results, you click on that, all of a sudden, wham, you're not in a .gov site anymore. You've got a weird little logo in the upper left. That logo stands for a company called Seidel. They're foreign owned. We have a foreign company counting our elections. This is how convoluted and how messy things get when you decide to use computers and machines. I'm not old enough to remember the days when you had a piece of paper and you filled in little circles and you put that in a box.
Right.
Piece of paper, fill in circles, put it in a box. People take the papers out, people count them, done. You're not sure, you'll recount them. You're still done. Right. What layers and layers and layers we have now with these machines. Paper-only ballots, one day of voting would be so much simpler. Now, I just want to tell you, Mike, you wouldn't believe where I've gotten pushback from.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I would.
Maybe you would. Maybe you would.
Yeah. Those bastards.
Yeah. This is not a partisan issue. This is a voter issue.
That's right.
I have gotten pushback from a lot of Republicans who say that they think the machines are better, but they've never said why. Now, I might have been a little abrupt in my statements to them about all the different problems with machines, and they might have backed off and not wanted to say why they think machines are so great. But really, I've never heard why machines are so great. Back to this petition. On this petition, we actually refer to different agencies, National Security Agency, DHS, other voting system experts like you've talked to, Mark Cook, people from around the world. There's a guy named Dr. Frank. There's a lot of people that have talked about the problems with our machines. And by the way, if you want to have some fun, go look up the 20-minute Democrats complaining about voting machine problems from 2016. There are so many, there's many people that have complained about machines. All of a sudden now it's okay.
Let me ask you something about that. So yeah, in 2016, and a lot of people have forgotten about this. 2016 elections came around and Democrats, they were up in arms over this.
Living.
Now, that's right. When the shoe was on the other foot, oh, there's no problem. the silly thing is, this is not a partisan issue. It's a like you just said, it's a voter issue, and people got to get out of that mindset that, it's us versus them. This is, as you may not be aware of this, there were people in my own own election that weren't allowed their constitutional right to vote.
Right.
Okay. And that doesn't mean they were Democrats or Republicans. I don't care what they were. They didn't get the opportunity. I mean, could I have won? Yes. Could I have lost worse? Absolutely. It's a people thing, not a party
Wasn't
thing.
it your own precinct that had a name missing from a ballot? Somewhere.
Me.
Yeah. That's kind of what I thought, but I don't want to misspeak. So
in all fairness, myself and my opponent, I didn't go apeshit over just me not being there. I went for two things. We both weren't there.
Yeah.
And the people, even worse than that was the people, the county said it was 70. We were able to calculate on our own based on tax records. It was more like 283, I think it was, that didn't get the opportunity to vote.
Right. Machines were supposed to make things better, and they're not. In my precinct in the last election, something happened to our e-poll books. They went down, and I was there as an observer. I'd already voted, but the line backed up. This was about 4:00 on election day, never mind early voting. And the line went, it was a backup for like 2 hours because the e-poll book was down. That's just one tiny piece. That's your gatekeeper. You can't even, doesn't matter what you do with your vote at that point. So it's just crazy. So we want to get complexity out of this system, right?
Yep.
And we want to make it simple. We want to make it simple for everybody. Now, what's really interesting too, I mentioned the barcodes. Barcodes and tabulation and counting, that's all happening in some kind of black box. Like nobody knows, nobody can know what was counted and how it was counted and why you might get 0.7 of a vote for somebody.
Right.
Imagine that.
Is that where the cast vote record CVR comes into play? The results of that is a CVR?
The cast vote record is that very image of your ballot that I was referring to. Now, if you had those, you would know whether your votes were tabulated correctly.
Right.
But, and that should be a public record, right? Well, it is a public record, or was, or supposed to be, but somehow, oddly, our elections director, the state elections commission executive director was Marcy Andino, asked our attorney general, South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson, asked him to write an opinion that made cast vote records no longer a public record. I want to mention something here. In our South Carolina Constitution, and people should know this, people do not know this. People, all they know is you vote in secret, and it's big secrecy, right? Because your ballot's important and you protect it. And that's true. You vote in secret, but according to our Constitution, while elections are to be by secret ballot, all elections, the ballots shall not be counted in secret.
That's right.
And so it's a complete violation of the Constitution to even have the machines in the first place. To have a tabulator is a violation of our constitutional rights. How do you fix this? We go right back here. We're just going to circle right back. How do you fix this? You elect the right people into office. How do you elect the right people?
Number one.
You have clean elections, so you don't have people who are selected somehow by a machine, an algorithm, a bad actor. You have free and fair elections. Everybody gets to vote. No poll books went down. Tabulators went down. Ballot marking devices flipped your vote. You've heard of that. I've heard of that many times as a poll watcher. None of that happens with paper.
No.
It's amazing.
And it is important, so important for people to understand. And I said this as I was my monologue bringing you on. This stuff, it's just not a conspiracy theory, people. This happens. I have, and others have cornered the Beaufort County executive committee woman who is the helper author of the current election integrity bill, and I do not understand, because she's not stupid. Ignorant, maybe, but not stupid. How simple do you have to break it down that the machines do not work when we have given example after example? And now, reason I was mentioning the CVR, I know some folks here have been trying to, with the SC Safe Election, trying to get a copy of that. And all of a sudden, I don't know where it's at. Do you know? No, I don't know where it's at either.
No, and so you and I are not alone. We're not even a minority here. When we had this brilliant idea to take this petition to Pickens for this, President Trump was flying in and doing some kind of a rally there. We came away from there with hundreds upon hundreds of signatures. And there were 4th of July events where other people took these petitions around and got hundreds more signatures. I contacted one of the members of the legislature and I said, okay, so how do I get on your radar? What does it take to get your attention? And he said, oh, well, a woman came in here with like 1,000 signatures. And I said, well, there's my bar. You set the bar right there. I want 1,000 signatures. We're about there already. Now, I called. Let me tell you a little bit about how this works. This petition references some bills, some better elections integrity bills. You'll see that on the petition. They're authored, I believe all 3 are authored by Rob Harris. This only mentions one of them, but they are numerical in order. And so when a bill is written, if it has to do with election integrity, do you know where it goes? You might.
Judiciary.
House Judiciary. And you probably know who is the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee?
Beaufort County's Weston Newton.
Beaufort Jasper County's Weston Newton. The chairman has the power, all the power, well, almost all the power over that bill. The only person that could override him on that bill is the actual Speaker of the House or the President of the House. Speaker, okay?
Of the House.
Right. And he can call a bill directly to the floor, but that's not happening this time. These bills are read in April 5th. They're languishing in the House Judiciary Committee. My point, and the reason I wanted to be on your show and talk to your listeners, you guys are so important, is because when I called Weston Newton's office and I said, man, I've got like 700-800 signatures here. Oh, we don't, I don't know if there's a particular number of signatures that would be of that much interest to us. How many of them are from Jasper and Beaufort counties? And I said, well, I will find out. Well, there is our mission right there. We need to get hundreds of signatures from Jasper County, from Beaufort County. What I want every one of your listeners who can see the screen right now to do is hold your phone up to that QR code. It's crazy that I want paper ballots and I had to give you a QR code, but hey.
Well, that's all right. I have a link to your email, which you can do the same way, right?
The email is also there. That email comes to me.
And
I am not sending out your email address to anybody. I'm not interested in doing that. I'm just interested in gathering your names and signatures. I'm going to I wish I could show you this stack of signatures that we have. These are all, and these are the ones I haven't finished typing in yet. Hundreds of signatures. And these are all going to go to 3 places. They're going to Weston Newton and anybody else that'll show up for that meeting, especially if they're from the Judiciary Committee. They're going to Howie Knapp, the executive director of the State Elections Commission, and they're going to Governor McMaster. Sorry, I don't know if my camera is here. Governor McMaster. I want them to know how much the people want this. Look, over like 60% of the people now believe that there were, I'm not even going to use the bad word, there were problems with our election. It may or may not have been fraud. I'm not going to say that it was because I don't have hardcore proof that it's fraud. But I know,
but it's a problem.
I know there's vulnerabilities. It's obvious there's vulnerabilities.
Right.
So
I saw it.
Yeah. So with all of this evidence of vulnerabilities, let's fix this. Let's get real with this. The other thing I want to tell you is I have talked to elected people. Now, just for fun, I call them elected servants. I don't kowtow to elected officials. I don't get all excited about there's an elected official in the room. They put their pants on just like you and me.
Yeah, everybody else.
But I've told elected servants, you might have gotten lucky this time. You got elected this time. You might have even gotten selected this time. You have no idea what's going to happen next time. Yep. There's vulnerabilities and we don't know who's going to exploit them to what advantage. We need clean, fair, safe elections, one day only, paper ballots.
I put your email. Is that on the screen for everybody to see there? The people want paper ballots at gmail.com. Let me see if that came through on my end. Does everybody, do you see that?
It's big. I was looking, there was something in my way, and that's what it is.
All right. So that is the email. Folks, you can put your phone up and QR code the whatever, scan the thing. You can do that, or you can go to the people want paper ballots at gmail.com. And Heather, you want their name, the county, and the statement. I want paper ballots.
Paper only ballots, 1 day voting. And if they send anything to me along that line, I will capture that. And if I still need your county, I'll let you know I still need your county. That's about the only time you're going to hear from me. I'm not trying to spam you. I don't want, this doesn't go anywhere but to me. And then it's going to go to those 3 places I mentioned.
Gotcha. Let me also, we have, let me see if I can get this up here. We have some comments. Some folks that are listening are chiming in. Al Flowers, a good guy right there. Will we ever be able to vote for those that we want to? Zero confidence. I understand and agree 100%. My friend Julianne out of Beaufort says the Beaufort GOP chairman defends the machines and will hear nothing in regards to going back to paper ballots. I've tried speaking with him.
GOP chairman is elected. You have an opportunity in 2 years.
Absolutely. Scan it, sign it, email it now. Absolutely, Julianne and my good friend Avi. It should not matter if the signatures are from Beaufort or Jasper. This affects all of us. As a chair, he represents all. Good point.
While I agree, and that's why we went statewide, I'm telling you what happened when I called his office.
Right.
that's who he's most interested in, sadly.
I guess I try to look from both sides. I really do.
That's hard.
If you know the county, then it's easier to quantify rather than just, we got people from all over the place. You don't know where they're from. It's easier to quantify. And I guess you could take to some of the parts and it should be greater than the whole. I guess that's how that works. I have talked with Chairman Newton. He does watch the program, so I hope he's tuned in now. He was watching when Representative White was here. Chairman Newton was watching. So I know that he is listening now, or I know he hears us. I hope he is listening, and I encourage everyone that is listening now or tunes in later on a replay to scan that QR code or to send an email to the people want paper ballots at gmail.com with your name, county, and the statement, I want paper ballots, same day voting. That's what it was?
Yeah, basically whatever statement you want to make, that will just get what I'm doing with those is I'm printing them out on a separate piece of paper, and I won't flash one up because I'm not giving out people's information, but those pieces of paper will go into the stack that we're taking. And I'm hoping to have quite an impressive stack when we do set that meeting with Representative Newton.
Good. Awesome. How else can people get involved if they want to? I know you want to talk about real quickly some of the there are some links on this that you have.
The best one. Link. Yes, there's a great one on there near the bottom called Hand Count Roadshow. Because when people say, but if we had paper, we need all these people to count all these ballots and how would that work? Please go to handcountroadshow.org. That is put on by your own guest, Mark Cook, from a couple of weeks ago. And you know what? People count those ballots on camera. There's no early reporting. It's all right there live, Right. So the ballots are still cast in secret, but every time you accumulate ever so many of them, you pull them out and you start counting them. And there's observers, just like we have now. There's people from whatever parties, and I'm not going to limit it because there's more than 2 parties in this state. Okay. Elizabeth, if you want to just email me again, I'll find out whether your county was on there and we'll get you taken care of.
And I think that it's and thank you, Abby. I think it's important that it's important to note, you're not just looking for, because the majority of folks that watch this the majority, are conservatives. That's who typically tunes in. But you're not looking for conservatives only. This is a people thing. So if by chance, and we have some of the other side that doesn't agree with me pretty much on anything, this is important to you too.
Especially,
this is very important.
I'll tell you, it's especially important to Democrats right now. You know why? Because we supposedly have a Republican supermajority in South Carolina right now. Do you want your candidate to win?
Supposedly.
Do you want your voice to count? Then you want clean elections. It's just, I mean, this way, with clean elections, whoever gets the majority vote is the real winner. Right now, we do not know who the real winner is. All we know is who apparently got selected by algorithm, by barcode, or whatever.
You know, Heather, I made a statement, and it was the primary in 22. This is 23. It was a primary of 22. I made this statement when this whole debacle happened that I was involved in. I said, look, and I think anybody that's an elected servant that can carry their weight would agree with this, that I would rather lose honestly than win by cheating. And I mean, it just doesn't get any plainer than that. So, you know, Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever. This is important. The people want paper ballots at gmail.com, period. Period.
Thank you. I mean, it's ridiculous that, for instance, a group like South Carolina Safe Elections has had to sue money from their own pockets, our own government, our own taxpayer money going to our own government to fight us in a lawsuit to get
it's unbelievable.
public records, right?
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And
Heather Hickman, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being on. Anytime, you are always welcome here, and we are so glad to have you. Thank you so much for being with us here on Buford's House of Cards.
Thank you for what you do, Mike. Have a great night.
All right. Have a good evening. All right. It is coming up on the top of the hour right here on Beaufort County's House of Cards.
Everything that rocks is right here. Right here.
Let's rock.
With Big Patriot Radio.
That's what I'm talking about.
I just sprung a new one on you there. How about that one? Love it. Love it. So, you know, the storyline, and I really appreciate Heather being on here. That is, and I want to thank Nancy for helping line that up. It's simple, folks. We've been saying this a long time. Paper ballots, same-day voting, only the military and those afflicted and bedridden, they can vote early. But other than that, is same-day voting. Vote in private, open and read it at the precinct level in public. Simple. Simple. The Middle East does it with purple ink on your thumb or the forefinger on the right hand. It's simple. If they can do it, we can figure this out. Representative Newton, Chairman Newton, had said during a legislative delegation meeting many months ago, talking about voting when they were going through this on their level, he had made the question or posed the question and statement about Beaufort County is always last. You know, when you go to election night and you're getting the results, and you know, well, Aiken County did this and Marlboro County did that, and Beaufort County historically is last. That's got nothing to do with anything that's important. What's important is that these machines are not trustworthy. These machines have been manipulated. These machines are causing problems over and over and over. Anyway, you know the storyline of Beaufort County administration, the building and county council. It just gets weirder and weirder, more weird every day that passes by. I reported to you last week that my affectionate name of Czar Passaman is allowing Greenway, the now fired county administrator, he's allowing him to have what they're calling his legal right. I somewhat question that, but I'll go with it. Let's go with it. Let him have his legal right to speak before county council on the 28th of August. I I hope, because fair is fair, he is only allowed 3 minutes as every other citizen is. If they give him any more time, that's bullshit, and I'll call it bullshit, and I'll go on that one, because he's just a citizen. He shouldn't get any more time. What is important is, and I ask this over and over, whomever Greenway's legal team is, well, they're either not that smart, they're either borderline ridiculous, or I don't even know what to say, or he's holding a lot of cards, because never do what he is about to do. The ability to self-incriminate begins the moment he takes his first breath at that podium. Now, do I think he's guilty? I don't know. I can only go by what I have seen, what I have heard, what I have watched, what I have discovered. He obviously wants an audience, so he's going to get it. And I agree. I mean, that's going to be a packed house. They'll have overflow rooms. He wants an audience, and he's going to get one for sure. This week, though, at County Council, Lisa Lynch, excuse me, she is the fired former wellness director, former partner of the Elemental county contractor, conflict of interest, former date of Eric Greenway, who she brought her another date to a party, and Eric got pissed off and told her to F off. She got up at County Council public comment period and spoke 3 minutes, quickly telling the public she is the victim, and not the only one, I might add. She was very clear to Greenway's misconduct. She didn't make it a legal thing. She just laid it out there that she was fired. He's a scumbag, and they need to fully investigate. I'm perfectly okay with what she said. Perfectly okay. She did it as a citizen. She didn't come in there, you owe me. Nope. Didn't do any of that. So the question now can be, where is this investigation? Well, our Speedy Gonzalez council, from what we've been finding out, has not hired a single person or company yet for the investigations that they voted on. They voted on weeks ago and said to Mark Lawson, finance chair, go do it. They are going to interview some legal companies, legal firms, which blows my mind, because they need to interview. Well, we'll get to that. Guess who is on the so-called list? Guess who? Take a wild guess of what law firm is on this list. Yes, it's the same one that County Attorney Kevaney is quick to recommend for almost every situation the county finds themselves in, which is pretty much a daily thing. That would be Burr Foreman. Now, just to be fair, there are two others that will be interviewed. But Burr Foreman is one of them. That may be, how can Burr Foreman be even remotely thought of as non-biased? And this has got to be non-biased. This has got to be someone from outside. This has really got to be an accounting firm on a regional or national level. And they all have offices like Atlanta, Charlotte, Charleston, Jacksonville, maybe Raleigh, maybe not. This is hard. Why go through a law firm unless, of course, the county attorney allegedly told you so, or allegedly the county chairman told you to do that? I don't know. Anyway, the Mark Lawson, the county finance department, county council chair, should have the latitude and the fortitude to do what he wants at the direction of the vote that was taken. Okay, you all said go do this, It's his job to go find it, not crawl over to Joe Passament's desk and, Father, may I have another? No. Mark, why are you not going out for reputable national level accounting firms that do this for a living? I'm not talking about the CPA down the street that does your taxes. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a national level type accounting firm. Okay? A national level type accounting firm. I never used, because they're expensive, I never used anything like that, so I don't know. But I know they're out there. Price somebody. And wait, that's not what Passament wants. Another example is that Lawson, as the chair, and Avi, didn't he create? Yes, he created the job for her. Is this actually a position that we? Well, that's a good question. That's a good question. Well, let's talk more about that. I'll come back to you. Another example is that Lawson has been told to only look back, and this is in all three of those resolutions that were passed. Only go back to January 2023 forward. That would be till August 17th. Tomorrow's August 18th, if you get what I'm saying. Anyone who listens to that and goes along with it is absurd. I mean, listen to me, folks. Anyone with a low IQ, less than the common man, would say they should look at every moment that the guy or girl, whatever, was employed. If they had access to the checkbook or access to the records or access to the attorney or whatever, you start at the beginning and you go to the end, not what they're doing by starting in January 2023. Unbelievable. Unbelievable that, and I know a handful of folks have been starting to say this, but people, and I agree. I'm not discounting what happened to her, because I personally think that she's owed some things that are coming to her from him, if what was allegedly done happened. That's another story. To go through and agree with starting at the 2023, January 2023 mark and moving forward and not go back is unacceptable. People have got to start saying that to their elected servants. And thank you, Heather, for saying that. I love that. And it's absolutely true. You can't start at 2023. We demand you go backwards, because he had his finger in the pie since he came here. Was he doing anything? I don't know. You all say he did, but let's go find it all. It's our money. That's what I want you to do. In other developments, I'm getting excited now. In other developments, a source has relayed to us that Deputy Assistant Administrator Whitney Richland's office, if you don't remember who she is, she's the blanket gate piece of this puzzle, has been cleaned out for approximately 8 consecutive days now. That's what we've been told. Earlier in the week, we were told that she has, quote unquote, quit her job with the county after being given the choice of allegedly quit or be fired. This is all allegedly. I haven't been able to confirm that 100% yet. If she has quit, my question is why? Why did you quit? If you were told quit or be fired, why? If her office was cleaned out days ago, why? The public has a right to know. And who was it that gave her the ultimatum? Was it acting CEO Robinson? John, I think it is, Robinson? Or did this come from Passament? Who told you quit or be fired? We have a right to know. You want to clean some of the alleged dark cloud over you, Whitney? Allegedly? We need to know who was it that told you quit or be fired. Maybe it didn't even happen that way. The public also has a right to know, and this is what really burns my ass. The public has got a right to know why is the procurement policies in Beaufort County government not actually, I guess it's why are the procurement policies in Beaufort County government not actually following the guidelines and the rules and the procedures that is set out for them in writing, along with the state code of laws for procurement? Why? This has been going on for years now. Why are they not examining that and go back for a minimum of 10 years? Listen to what I just said, ladies and gentlemen. Hit pause, rewind for 5 seconds. Why are you not going back a minimum of 10 years? Hello? Knock, knock. Hello? It might be a good idea to begin to go back at least maybe 15 years, but 10 at a minimum. I can't say that enough. I'm just saying the writing is on the wall for what is going on in the county administration building with Blanket Gate, all of this stuff that people are talking about, county equipment being used on personal property. And now there's procurement issues. It's not all been brought up by me. It's been brought up by others. I'm telling you, go back 10 years. You need to ask what the hell is going on.
All the wickedness and filth this world has to offer.
Yeah! Rock music that shatters your bones.
Almost quarter past 8 o'clock.
That's some serious rock.
And you're responsible.
And Beaufort County Board of Education is back in the news. Wait a minute. They never left the news. What am I talking about? A couple of highlights for you. Major announcement. Dick Geyer, board rep for District 4 in Port Royal, responded to me. How about that? Yeah, he finally replied to an email. Actually, I think he replied to an appeal that I filed on the last book review through the email. He wanted to inform me, and I quote, "I always respond to my constituents, and you, sir, are not one of my constituents." Yeah, you believe that shit? You, sir, are not one of my constituents. Well, so since he opened the door, I went ahead and walked on in. If you're going to open the door for me, I'm going to take advantage of it. We had a little email thing going on, a little bromance. I assured him that not only was he incorrect in assuming that he was the government, as he publicly stated several weeks ago, I let him know he's also wrong about his constituents. You see, his oath of office he swore to be a member of the full county school board. He may represent District 4, but he is accountable to all of the citizens of Beaufort County. Again, a child in Adultville. Then, almost like it was written for a cinema, I was given a heads up about a town of Port Royal council meeting. I tuned in, very ordinary, quite vanilla, listening to all the meeting was basically a bunch of Agenda 21 things, in my opinion, that they're going to do. And it came at the end to public comment. Now, this place, town of Port Royal, is teeny weeny anyway. Quaint, beautiful little seaside town, great food, great ambiance, but it's little. Everything is little. The streets are little. The town hall's little. The room was little, but it place was jack full of people. It never, as far as I've been in politics, it never is. I mean, they never have a crowd at all, hardly. So I knew something was up, rather. Lo and behold, I had no idea that there was a plan in the works by Low Country Pride to have their LGBTQ parade, and I guess you could call it a event day. It's not a social; it's more of a event. So I would just call it an event. Anyway, in Port Royal, used to be for like 4 years, it was here in Bluffton. And people in Port Royal or Northern Beaufort County were clamoring that, we want it over here. And I guess they got a big crowd in the LGBTQ field. And I mean, that's cool. So they said, hey, let's have it here. But they want to have it at a park behind the school. And they said that by no means, or I'm sorry, the park behind the school or beside the school, however that works, was going to be where the event was. And the main street, which is Paris Avenue, would be where the drag parade or whatever, the parade. And boy, did these folks turn out. I mean, not only did they say no, they said hell no in a very large way. One guy put it bluntly, that we know. He says, I don't, it was kind of funny the way he said this. He said, I don't support their way of life, but that's their decision. If they want to have an event for themselves, fine. But I don't think it should be on school grounds or next to school grounds. Fair enough. Fair enough for me. I was like, okay, that makes sense. The book people wanted here. I've kind of got that feeling, Julianne. I've kind of got that feeling. Anyhow, Ivy, I'll show what you wrote, but I think this won't even fit the screen. Yeah, we'll need something. If you can change that to a link or something, maybe I'll put it up there. Anyway, several others said, and pretty much verbatim, so to speak, there's no way in hell we will support or allow a parade to go through our town. No, not going to happen. That too, I happen to agree with. Side note, what was really interesting when I'm listening to all this, and Julianne, Ivy, and many of you will get to understand where I'm going. I'm listening to these folks, and I was thinking to myself, now, I haven't seen you at a school board meeting. Now, maybe you've called in like have I. Not casting stones. I'm just saying, I would love to have the support and people like Ivy and Julianne and David, and the list goes on and on and on. Would love to have that same support by this same crowd at the school board meetings when we're being treated like vile filth from vile filth. Anyway, at least I digress. So I agree with them. Not going to happen. Not going to do it in our town. Nope. What's going to happen with this? I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't tuned back into it other than to catch comments here and there. Stuff that's been sent to me, and town council got it. They got it. And now the book people who this group that that I'll talk about here in a second. They now have these petitions and this tirade against one of the churches in Port Royal who is standing up for their beliefs. But oh no, the iniquitous beast of Ladies Island and her miscreant imps are trying to shut down this church. Now, granted, the iniquitous beast of Ladies Island is a self-proclaimed atheist, and she's trying to shut this church down. That is some good people right there. That is good people. Oh boy, you're right, Julianne. It should not be presented as family friendly because it's not family friendly. Anyway, what's going to happen? I don't know. The point of this is this. I quickly got in touch with Dick Geyer again. And I said, Dick, You know, I heard from an awful lot of your constituents the other night on television, and everybody else did too. And they don't like anything, Dick, to do with LBGTQ parades and events. By the way, Dick, this is the same people that I personally have spoken with that are in favor of what we are doing with the book reviews, etc. End quote. What did this goofball say? He says, quote, well, I speak to the majority of my constituents every week, and they don't agree with you. Okay, Dick. Here's a lollipop. Funny thing about Dick is that he was seen at a FAB, that's Families Against Book Bans, board meeting. Vice chairman of the school board was at a FAB, a hate group, vile, shit-spreading cast of characters, Families Against Book Bans, and the vice chairman is there. And then today I get word, and we are combing through some things, that Carlton Dallas, another school board member, was out cutting bread, sharing a meal with a fellow that I don't want to name quite yet until we get through this. But anyway, he's a board member of FAB, Families Against Book Bans, in Beaufort, eating supper together. So, it sure would be nice if the school board members, and not all of them, because not all of them this applies to, because some of them do the right thing and do behave professionally, but it sure would be nice if the school board talked to both sides, and that's right, allegedly, both sides of the issue, and allegedly don't just lay down with one party. It's not a good look, fellas. I'm just saying, it's not a good look. Trying to help you out here. Been trying to help you out all along. So the school board, moving forward, school board has served papers, I understand, on David Cook. David is the chicken food man. And I guess those papers were served through the sheriff's department. I guess that's how that works. Done this week, that says, and this is not word for word, this is what I understand, that he's like forbidden from being on school property aside from drop off and pickup of his kids, I guess. And if he has to go, he has to have his escort by someone. I don't know who the person is. Anyway, let me tell you, that is a complete load of horseshit. This whole thing this is ridiculous. It's ridiculous, the noodling that the media, vis-a-vis Island Packet, Your Island News, people like that have done to castrate the real story. That's right, they've castrated the real story. Anyway, what's he doing about it? I mean, I have no idea. I have an idea, but I don't know what he's doing. I'm not there with him. But I know if I was him, I'd be filing police reports by the bucket load on people that have threatened me, people that have harassed him harassed him and his kids, police report, people that have slandered him, police report, and so on. I told that to someone recently, and they were like, no way, dude, he just needs to grow up. And I was like, hold on a second. Let me get this straight. He needs to grow up. But a teacher tells the newspaper, I am going to be getting myself a gun for protection. That's what was said. It was in the paper. If that is not a threat, I don't know what is. I take that as a threat. If someone the article was about him, it was about him. It wasn't about anybody else. It wasn't about deer. It wasn't about shooting snakes or skeet. It was about David Cook. I'm going to be getting myself a gun for protection. I take that as a threat. I would file a report. Also, if the sheriff's department is going to take the skewed views of the two teachers, and this is, allegedly, this is what they've done. They've taken the views of two teachers that are in question, who are fueled by a league of professional, progressive, and Malthusian-esque like librarians. The iniquitous beast of Ladies Island and her miscreant imps have done even way worse. Why is the sheriff's department not serving papers on them? Maybe they haven't been asked to. Well, then we need to do that. There needs to be police reports filed. This is unacceptable behavior. Totally unacceptable behavior. File the damn police reports, people. If you don't stick up for you, if you don't stick up for you, who will? Who will? File the reports. If it's happened to you, file the reports. Can't tell you whether it happened or not. Everything is obviously allegedly until proven otherwise. If it happened to you, file the reports. Anyway, the real important topic here is the students, the books, the minds. Stop prostituting the minds of these children. School board this week said they were not interested in any appeals. When I say school board said, that means the majority. Okay, there are 3 school board members who have been consistently voting with a square mindset. One is teeter-tottering. The rest, they're just not worth it. Anyway, school board said this week they're not interested in appeals, and they would go with the recommendations of the review committee. Same exact thing that Dick Geyer said when this fully began. He said then, I'm not going to listen to appeals. I'm going to go with what they said. I'm not going to read the books. I'm going to go with what they said. We're not here to read, which is totally bass-ackwards, Dick. Where is, this week, when the school board said that, the review committee, she was, she's the teeter-totter I speak of. The review committee, all of the books they wanted back on the shelves in different fashions, except one. And off the top of my head, I can't remember which one it was. They said, nope, it should go away. Where's the outcry? Where is the miscreant imps and the iniquitous beast of Ladies Island? Where are you? Why aren't you raising hell and crying out that, oh my God, they have removed a book from the shelf? This is book number 4. Holy cow. I can't believe they're not raising the roof. Are you serious? The review committee has pulled the 4th book. Those vile rodents. Don't hear nothing. Don't hear nothing. I don't hear anything out of that bunch. Yeah. Come on, Fab. Families Against Book Banning. Your board of directors eating supper allegedly with school board members, and you having school board members at your board meeting, allegedly. Why aren't you saying anything? Why aren't you pissed off that, by God, they took a 4th book off the shelf? These assholes. You don't hear it. Where is your wide open, slick tongue, Fab? You see, folks, the Fab crew, which includes the Beast and her brood, they're all about politics. They are quick to say, people like me and Ivy and others oh, these political hacks or these political this, political that. You know, we had a meeting at a restaurant and it was these political junk. You got to get rid of that restaurant. Don't go there anymore. They are making it political. Why can't people see that? They're all about politics. They know, I know it, and it kills them. It kills them to the core. They know, I know, they're all about politics. They hate the fact that not only me, others have exposed them and have exposed some of the elitist Rhino GOP establishment as well. They've all been exposed and more are being exposed. The two seemingly run in the same pack sometimes. If you think about it, they kind of run in the same pack on some things. And it is disgusting. It's dirty. It's nasty. It's despicable. It is 8:30 here.
Introducing to you. You're on House of Cards. Live on Facebook and YouTube. It's going down. Locked and loaded with the truth.
So my last segment tonight, let's continue the thought of these two parties, you know, the elitist Rhino establishment globalists, and then the iniquitous beast of Ladies Island and the miscreant imps, along with their progressively socialist and communist / Marxist behavior. The thought of these two running in the same pack is horrible. You know, some dogs can run in packs together. Some dogs can't. There are some dogs you don't want to run with. The thought of those two running in the same pack, well, it's horrible. To think that real conservatives have their head in their sand, finger up their ass, go-alongs, just to get along, makes me want to vomit. They quote Ronald Reagan all the time. All the time. These so-called conservatives that have their head in the sand, their finger up their ass, that go along to get along. They quote Ronald Reagan all the time. But in reality, if Ronald Reagan was alive, he'd be shitting himself right now. If he knew the crap they're doing, he's got to be rolling over and over and over. But he would literally be shitting himself. We have to get rid of the go along to get alongs. They do no good. They are no service of positivity to conservative movement. Establishment politicians, they're useless. They're useless. Well, Mike, they are conservative. Okay, let's take a look at each of their voting records. As the guest tonight was talking about the South Carolina House having a supermajority, is one of the most liberal houses in this nation, because they get elected as a Republican, but they vote as a Democrat. They vote with the social progressives. They're not worth anything to me. They're not worth it. I want to know who I'm playing against. I don't want to have to guess. We have to oust this good old boy network of favoritism and nepotism, sort of a pay-to-play network. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. You give me this kind of money in my offshore bank account, all of a sudden I may vote for your electric vehicle company. Oh, did I say that? We must elect new people to the school board. This is a serious part of this. We have got to elect new people to the school board. I know one person already who is already wanting to take on Dick Geyer, and one readying herself against Christina Gwads. Good. Great. Let's get more. We must elect new people to county council. Reportedly, I have some contacts that there is a good conservative, of all places, Seabrook, Northern Beaufort County wanted to take on Gerald Dawson. I mean, that's fantastic. Last week, I spoke to someone ready to take on Mark Lawson here in Bluffton. Again, now that one is got teeth to it. I'm not sure if the one in Northern Beaufort County has enough teeth. God bless you. God bless you. If you got the right message and you're the right person doing the right thing, it can happen. But the one wanting to take on Mark Lawson, super. Don't stop there. The mayor of Bluffton just announced she was not going to run for re-election. It would be like her 5th or something. She's put all her eggs in Larry Toomer's basket. Larry Toomer, city councilman, shrimper, oysterman. She put all her eggs in his basket. Something that she has said for years, forever actually, that she would never do. Never do. Anyway, while that is a nonpartisan seat, that town council is way to the left. I mean, they are way to the left. I'm here to tell you right now, if there are any conservatives listening in the Buckwalter tract area from 170 to Buckwalter, anywhere in between, you know the area I'm talking about, and you want to run for mayor, now is your time. I've heard for years, I don't want to take on Sulka, man. She's just a big cheerleader and everybody loves her. I respect that. I hear you. Now is the time. And here's a little bit of information that's free. You won't even need to campaign in downtown, Old Town, hardly at all. Hardly at all. Call me. I'll give you the information. Do it for free. I'll give you the information free on how to win that seat. The mayor of Bluffton. You want to know how to win? I can tell you how to win in a huge landslide, and you don't even have to really go to Old Town all that much. Shake a hand here, kiss a baby there. Sure, absolutely. Spend all your time down there and your money down there? Shit, no. Hell no. Hey, the same goes for Toomer. Larry, if you're watching this and you're willing to have a more conservative approach, if you were mayor, call me. I can give that same info to you. Whomever gets it will win. I'm telling you right now, if you listen to what I'm telling you, just like Tom Reeks did, like David Bartholomew did, like Paula Brown did, you'll win. If you listen to what I tell you, you'll win, and you'll win easily. How about that? That's going to do it for tonight. Here is that link. Let me pull this up here. Here is that link to that email for Hannah Hickman again. I want to thank her for coming on. thepeoplewantpaperballots@gmail.com. Again, send her an email, put in your name, county, and I want paper ballots in the email. Boom, that's it. Done. You're done. You're done. You had the QR code. If you saw that, great. You can use that too. It's easier, quite frankly, if you just say thepeoplewantpaperballots@gmail.com, name, county, and I want paper ballots in the mail. Let's get this message to the legislators. Remember, the chairman of the South Carolina House Judiciary Committee lives right here in Beaufort County. That's right. Representative Weston Newton lives right here in Beaufort County, in Bluffton. Let him know. Let him know. Make him aware this is what people want. Paper ballots, same-day voting, vote in privacy, open the votes in public at the precinct level. That's what people want. That's what people deserve. Good night, folks. Until next week, we will see you next Thursday night from Park.
Bad company.
Well, they all know our name. The death punch sound is our claim to fame. And that's why they call me